A lot of people around Maryland camps seem to think that this team is ready to explode in 2023, and well, they definitely have all the pieces to, right? Mike Loxley's group has been building for the past couple of seasons, and this year, there is quite a lot of talent here to be able to pull off something very, very special. Are the Terrapins going to be one of the biggest surprises in the nation in 2023, or will Maryland have too many question marks once it's all said and done and end up being another middle of the road team in the Big Ten Conference? What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate. Welcome to my channel. I'm predicting all 133 college football teams, which means I am doing your favorite team at the FBS level. So why don't you guys hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you know when your favorite team gets uploaded if they don't have a video already. Well, you can do more than that to help support my channel if you'd like. You're doing one right now by watching the video, and you can do more by liking, commenting, sharing, really anything else you can think of to help support my channel would mean a lot to me. Let's go ahead and dive on into the Terrapins in 2023, and I gotta tell you, there's a lot to like about this team. Hey, how do preview predictions work around here? We're gonna go through a roster preview, take a look at who the team lost, who's coming in through the transfer portal and recruiting class, as well as who's coming back to this team from last season. And then we're going to go through the 2023 Maryland Terrapins schedule and give it a good old game-by-game preview and prediction. So, ladies and gentlemen, your Maryland Terrapins in 2023 return one of the top quarterbacks in the Big Ten. And I know he didn't have a super overwhelming statistical season last year, but Talia Tungavailoa has enough raw talent to be one of the best quarterbacks in the Big Ten, if not the best quarterback in the Big Ten, and a really good quarterback in the national conversation. Had 3,008 yards last year, 18 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. Even though he eclipsed 3,000 yards, he definitely has the talent to get that yards number up, and he has to get that touchdown number up if Maryland is going to be one of the surprise teams in the nation this coming season. In the skill corps, in the running back room, well, your top two rushers from last season both come back. Roman Hemby had 989 yards and 10 touchdowns, and Antwain Littleton had 379 yards, 6 touchdowns, and about 100 less carries than Roman Hemby. Those two will highlight a 1-2 punch in the running back room for the Terrapins in 2023. Wide receiver-wise, okay, here's where things take some hits. You lose some really good options in the wide receiver room. Rakim Jarrett was your third leading receiver with 471 yards and 3 touchdowns, was also second on the team in receptions. Jacob Copeland was your fourth leading receiver, 376 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then Dante Demas, another really good option. He's down quite a ways on the receiving yards list, but the wealth got spread around last year. Still a really good player, and you lose him. You do return quite some good options, though, as Jayshon Jones is your leading receptions leader and yards leader from last season, and he comes back. 44 catches, 557 yards, and 4 touchdowns, as well as some guys like Ty Felton, Octavian Smith, among other names that return. And you get a couple transfers to help bolster the wide receiver room. Caden Prather's a 4-star rated transfer coming over from West Virginia. And then Tyrese Chambers, a 4-star rated transfer coming over from Florida International, FIU, the Panthers. In the tight end room, you are going to lose a very talented option in CJ Dupree, 314 yards and 3 touchdowns. However, your second leading receiver from last year, and Corey Dyches, I believe I said that last name right. If not, you can correct me, and I apologize for mispronunciations anywhere. 494 yards and 3 touchdowns last season for the Terrapins. Should be a good number one option in the tight end room for Maryland. Offensive line, you do lose Jahari Branch, Spencer Anderson, and Jalen Duncan. However, you're going to return a guy by the name of Delmar Glaze, pretty cool name if I do say so myself, and get some transfers coming in Gottlieb Ayedze and Corey Bullock. Again, I apologize for mispronunciations. That name definitely is as hard as it looks. Offensively, there are a lot of very nice pieces here, and they got a new offensive coordinator who I'll mention in a minute. Defensively, this is where the struggles have lied with Maryland over the past couple of seasons, and they are losing some guys from last year. A lot is gone off of this defensive line. Anthony Booker, Mosiah Nasili-Kite, Ami Finu, Henry Chibueze, and down there, I don't know why that ampersand and symbol is there. Just ignore that. I apologize. But Greg China Rose is gone there as well. He was tied for the team lead with 4 sacks last season. So this is a phenomenal group of defensive linemen that are leaving this Maryland program. Now we got to look and see what they do return as. Tommy King Basote return, as well as Isaac Bunyan. Some pretty solid options in the defensive line room should highlight them, as well as some transfers like Donnell Brown and Jordan Phillips coming over from different programs to help try to bolster this defensive line room that loses so much talent from last season. Linebacker room, Ahmad McCullough and Darrell Nachami both leave this linebacker room. However, some really good players such as Ruben Hippolyte return, as well as the third leading tackler from last season in Jayshawn Barham also had the team lead with 4 sacks, and Fanaje Gote, again, apologies for mispronunciations, was one of the leading tacklers on this team last year as well. He also comes back. Defensive back-wise, Deontay Banks and Jacorian Bennett are both gone. However, your top 2 returning tacklers from last season come back. Actually, I should say 3 of your top 4 come back, along with Jayshawn Barham. Bo Braid, Dante Trader, and Tarheeb Still were top 4 tacklers for this team last season, and then Braid and Trader each had 2 picks last season, as well as Gavin Gibson returns, and you get a 4-star transfer coming over from Cincinnati by the name of Daquan Shepard. So defensively, while you lose a lot on the front, I think the secondary will be pretty solid. Again, it's just figuring things out defensively. Offensively, there's a lot of good talent here, a lot to like. Your head coach for the Terrapins is Mike Locksley. Offensive coordinator, hey, Josh Gaddis. He was a really good offensive coordinator at Michigan a couple of years ago. And the defensive coordinator is Brian Williams. Here's the schedule in 2023 for the Terrapins. Any game that's underlined is going to be a game at home. Any game on the road is going to be in italics or the slanted text. Any date and week that gets highlighted in green is a game that Maryland wins easily. Any game in yellow is a game where, okay, hey, the other team's going to put up a fight, but the Terrapins are going to be able to win anyway. And then red, of course, is a loss. So let's predict Maryland in 2023, and it should start out with 2 easy wins for the Terrapins this upcoming season. Towson is an FCS level team that I don't see giving Maryland much trouble. And then Charlotte is losing a lot of nice pieces from the past couple of seasons that have been good to them, that would have helped them this year, and they just will not be any sort of competitive with the Maryland Terrapins, in my opinion. So Maryland gets 2 easy wins to start off the year. And this Virginia game is a little tricky for me to figure out. That I fully believe it's a game Maryland is going to be able to win. Virginia loses so much from last year, and I know it was an emotional end with what happened at the university last season, but Virginia is a team that, starting out with, loses Brennan Armstrong, loses a lot of key pieces offensively, defensively, special teams. There are guys leaving left, right, and center. I do not think Virginia is going to be a great team this year. However, they definitely have some pieces to give Maryland a good fight. This can definitely be a game that gets highlighted in green, and I would not blink an eye at that either. So, in my opinion, 3 wins for the Maryland Terrapins to start out 2023. Also, that Virginia game is being played on a Friday, just so all you fine people are aware. Moving on into Big Ten play. I've talked about Michigan State before as a team that has a lot of question marks, especially offensively. Who ends up playing quarterback now that Peyton Thorne is transferring out? That's the biggest question, but also who steps up in place of Keon Coleman? What else can they figure out offensively for this team? They got a lot to change about the team last season that this underperformed after the wild year that Mel Tucker had in his first season in 2021. However, I do like some of the pieces that Michigan State has defensively, and I think their offense are going to find some things that are going to work against this Maryland defense that I don't think is going to have all the bells and whistles figured out quite yet. So, and again, with the game being played on the road, it's Maryland's first road game of the year. I still see Michigan State. I don't know if I've said this in any video, and I apologize to Spartans fans, but I still see Michigan State being a competitive team in the Big Ten this year, pushing for a bowl game spot. I do not think the Terrapins will be able to beat the Spartans on the road, and they pick up their first loss of the year. However, they get a nice bounce back with Indiana. Indiana loses a lot of talent, especially to the portal, going to other teams and programs and universities, and this could be a year we see Tom Allen head out the door. I do not think Indiana is going to be super competitive this season, so Maryland I do have winning that one, and then they lose a game on the road in the Horseshoe. Ohio State's going to be a very good offensive team. They're going to be an elite offensive team, and they have a lot of really good defensive talent that it could make them elite defensively as well. That's where a lot of people question Ohio State, and that's where I expect a lot of improvement. And I think top to bottom, Ohio State will outclass Maryland in every facet. So the Buckeyes will go ahead and win that game there. Illinois is a very interesting game here, and is a game that I do have Maryland dropping. Now, Illinois got a huge upgrade at quarterback with Luke Altmaier coming over from Ole Miss, and I think this defense is going to be really, really good again in 2023, and I think the defense is going to do enough to slow down this Maryland passing threat with what Talia Tagovailoa brings. I think they have enough physicality to be able to stop the run with what Roman Hemby, Antoine Littleton, and others are able to bring. And again, this Illinois team got a little bit of a bolster offensively, especially at quarterback. So I think Illinois is going to do enough to be able to go on the road and pull off a big win there against the Maryland Terrapins, who have now lost 2 straight. But you lose 2 straight, perfect opportunity for a bye week here in a game that I think they should be able to win easily on the road against Northwestern. Now, never count out Pat Fitzgerald and the Northwestern Wildcats. I just do not have a lot of confidence in them after an abysmal year last season. Penn State is much like the conversation with Ohio State, right? I think Penn State, look, Drew Allers there. They got one of the best running back groups in the entire nation. Great group of pass catchers, and that defense is legit. Even though Maryland's got this game at home, and they maybe could be able to put up a little bit of a fight against the Nittany Lions here, I do believe that Penn State will, again, much like Ohio State, be able to outclass Maryland. I almost said Michigan for a second. I apologize. Penn State will outclass Maryland, and they will win that game. On the road at Nebraska. This is a game that I went back and forth on for a long time. Now, when you take a look at the Nebraska Cornhuskers coming into this year, of course, Matt Rule is there, and there's a lot of great talent with Nebraska this season. However, I really like what this Maryland team has, and until I fully see Nebraska's defense get a lot of good improvement, I think this Maryland offense is going to eat it up. I know on the road, really tough environment in Memorial Stadium, and Husker fans may not like it. That's a very winnable game for Nebraska, but I definitely think that Maryland is going to be able to pull this game out here. Taking a look back at it, I think Tagovailoa is going to be able to eat, pretty much have himself not quite a field day, but I think he's going to have a really good day, and this Maryland defense may come up with a play or two that changes the game in Memorial Stadium. So Maryland gets a win on the road before the game against Michigan, and much like Ohio State and Penn State, those are 3 of the best teams in the entire nation. They all will outclass Maryland, although Maryland has the potential to keep it close with all 3 of them. And then you get the final game of the year on the road against Rutgers, in a game that I think Rutgers is going to give Maryland a little bit of a challenge here, with Rutgers being at home, and who knows, they may be on the precipice of bowl season at this point. But I do see Maryland being able to walk away with the win at the end of the day. Too much firepower on offense for the Rutgers defense to handle, and I don't think Rutgers has enough firepower offensively, A, to be able to answer the Terrapins offense, and B, be able to really do, or be able to really get through this Maryland defense either. So Maryland, at the end of the year, finishes 7-5. Now, my intro had said this team can explode. I think this team has the potential to go 9-3, if not maybe 10-2, but I see 9-3 as that absolute max. I think this team will make a bowl game this year, and they can beat teams like Michigan State and Illinois. And who knows, they may be able to pull off some sort of big upset here, but Maryland's got to get some things figured out first. Right now, I got them sitting at 7-5. And that's going to do it for my preview prediction on Maryland. Let me know what you think about the Terrapins. And remember to play hard, but tailgate harder. And I will see all of you guys in the next video. Goodbye.